let's chew on this. Joining me now, Mike Davis, founder and president of the Article 3 Project, former law clerk to Justice Neil Gorsuch and former Senate Judiciary Committee counsel, and our great friend Greg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst and the author of the fabulous book, Trial of the Century, The Scopes Monkey Trial. Gentlemen, there's a lot here that I do understand. There's a lot here I don't understand. There's also a lot here I don't really care about because Hunter Biden's not president. I'm interested in whether President Biden is going to get busted for the Burisma bribery scandal. But Mike Davis, let's welcome you to the show and get your initial take on this. Is this all there is after 5 years? Okay, I know there was a song about that. Is this all there is? I forget who sang it. But is this it after 5 years? That's the whole story?
I think there's plenty more that the Biden Justice Department is covering up with this sweetheart deal. They say that this David Weiss was a Trump appointee. I was the chief counsel for nominations when he went through the Senate process. The Democrat home state senators picked their U.S. attorney in Delaware. And they picked this guy. They enthusiastically supported this guy, and it's very clear why they did this. David Weiss has been covering up for Joe Biden for years. We had the Attorney General, Bill Barr, say he referred the $10 million credible evidence of a $10 million foreign bribe when Biden was vice president to David Weiss. What's happened with that for the last 3 years? We've had this investigation of Hunter Biden where they are supposed to be looking into this foreign corruption that involves President Biden himself. They dragged this out as long as they could, and then they slap Hunter Biden on the wrist and give him this sweetheart deal. This stinks, and I think House Republicans need to start opening up investigations on this.
Well, don't look to me to defend it. I'm not the lawyer. You guys are the esteemed members of the bar. But Greg Jarrett, I'm just trying to separate out. All right, he didn't pay his taxes for 2 years. Yeah, I guess he was making good money, but he didn't pay his taxes. His lawyer in Beverly Hills paid his taxes or something, his pal. That, by the way, should be a taxable event, but that's perhaps a different issue. He's going to go and he's not going to use drugs and alcohol anymore, I presume. I don't think he's going away to Hazleton, but we'll see where they want him to go on this. But, I mean, if this is all you knew, putting aside the bribery scandal, the alleged bribery scandal, Greg, if this is all you knew, is this a bad deal in your judgment?
Oh, it makes a mockery of equal justice under law, Larry. It blows it to shreds. I mean, this is a deal that allows Hunter Biden to skate on serious criminal charges that would have landed you, me, Mike, everybody in America behind bars and very quickly. This is preferential treatment. And it really does make a mockery of the law. But, you know, we knew this was coming. The government's investigation had stretched for more than 5 long years by itself. That is utterly ludicrous. I mean, the evidence against Hunter was clear and convincing. He evaded taxes on millions of dollars that he pocketed from overseas sources. He obviously lied on a gun form and broke the law when he purchased a firearm. But you know, look, Joe Biden's Department of Justice and Joe's consigliere, think Tom Hagen in The Godfather, Merrick Garland, were never going to properly charge the president's son. So, you know, what they've done here is, Larry, they've rewritten the criminal codes and they've inserted a special exemption. If you're a Biden, you can defy the law with impunity and everybody else must abide. It is a demolition of justice.
All right, but look, I do not want to defend Hunter Biden. I'm just saying, I know a lot of people that for whatever reason didn't pay taxes for a couple years and then worked it out with the IRS authorities. Okay, they didn't go to jail. Now, I think the gun charge, okay, the gun charge is a very strange thing. It's probably a felony, I get that. But there are extenuating circumstances. The guy was in the throes of a drug addiction, all right? I'm just trying to find out, in all seriousness here, and again, no friend of Hunter Biden's or his father. Mike, I'll go to you. I don't understand why this took 5 years. In other words, frankly, I don't care that much about Hunter Biden. It's his father and the potential bribery, the alleged bribery scheme. that interest me much more. But on this narrow stuff, I don't understand why it took 5 years to figure out what seems to be a deal. Now, as our David Spunt just said, we don't know if the presiding judge, when this comes to court next week or the week after, will accept this government deal, and we don't know what the sentencing is going to be. But it's just, you know, you got to explain to me what it took 5 years to do this.
It took 5 years because this is a cover-up, and this has been a cover-up for many years by the Biden Justice Department, and it's not some crackhead with a gun. That's the biggest concern here. It's that the President of the United States could be compromised by foreign bribes and other foreign corruption, and his son was his partner, business partner in these corrupt
but
foreign
Mike,
dealings.
let me stop you there. Just let me, let's get, I understand. But do we know that that came up in Hunter's investigations and stuff? That's what I'm asking. In other words, as far as the bribery, the potential, the alleged bribery scandal, okay, I get the seriousness of that. That's a whole different ballgame. I'm just trying to figure out, was that part of, or will that be part of, an ongoing investigation? In other words, I'm trying to look beyond the tax thing, and I'm trying to look beyond the gun thing, and I'm trying to figure out whether or not they're investigating Hunter Biden for the bribery scandal, or is that another investigation, or is that no investigation by the Justice Department, and it's all going to happen in Congress? That's what I'm trying to find out here.
Well, that's a very good question. My former boss, Senator Chuck Grassley, along with House Oversight Chairman James Comer, have this evidence that Hunter Biden took $5 million and Joe Biden took $5 million in 2017. This indictment is for tax evasion in 2017 and 2018. You would think before they came to a plea agreement with Hunter Biden, with his business partner being the President of the United States, potentially compromised by a foreign bribe, they do a little bit more digging here than they've done. It doesn't seem like it's been a very enthusiastic investigation. I mean, God forbid that Joe Biden got into a fight with librarians and other bureaucrats over presidential records. We'd have his attorney testifying against him. They would try to be putting him in prison for the rest of his life, like they're doing with Trump.
All right, Greg Jarrett, what do you think? I mean, how large or narrow was the scope of this Hunter Biden trial, or Hunter Biden decision, or Hunter Biden deal? I guess it's a deal. We don't know anything formally. How narrow was this, or how broad was this?
Well, it was incredibly narrow to the point of being a charade. I mean, look, Larry, the Hunter Biden laptop is a treasure trove of damning, incriminating evidence of influence peddling schemes, with documents contained therein implicating his own father, Joe Biden, as complicit in these schemes. He was the cornerstone. Without him, there were no schemes. With today's decision announced by, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, I think the House Oversight Committee is the last refuge for anything resembling justice. Now, it cannot prosecute, obviously, but what it can do, and it's vital, is they can expose the corruption. And in the last 5 months, the committee members have, come through 170 suspicious activity reports, wire transfers, banking transactions, all of it showing that members of the Biden family received an astonishing, breathtaking amount of money from America's adversaries. And the payments were disguised through this complex web of shell companies and LLCs that, according to James Comer, the chairman of the committee, appear to have no legitimate business purpose other than to serve as receptacles for hiding cash. Gee, last time I checked, that's money laundering. But, the Department of Justice is running a protection racket for Joe and Hunter Biden. So really, the only thing that is left is for Congress to expose it.
So you're saying, both of you are saying, as I understand it, that after 5 years and opening up Hunter Biden's laptop, to come out with this kind of decision is just a dud. That's all. The public's not going to believe a word of it. And whether they wanted to or not, narrow scope or broad scope, they were confronted with a broad scope. I mean, they were confronted with his laptop that had all this information on it. Mike, that's what you're saying, basically, and that this thing had better be continued investigation. But so far, we learned nothing, and this was a dud, and it was a sweetheart deal. That's what you're saying.
The Biden Justice Department wants to have Trump die in prison over a fight with Biden's librarians and bureaucrats. The Biden Justice Department doesn't want Hunter Biden to spend a day in prison for tax evade millions of dollars and unreported income and a gun charge. And there's very clear evidence that Biden and his entire family are compromised by corrupt foreign payments, including bribery.
Well, look, without knowing all the facts and dealing with the allegations, I've been saying now for a while, Joe Biden wants to throw Trump in jail so he won't run against him for president. I've said that. I just don't know if this is the venue, but maybe it is the venue. You guys are probably right. What do I know? Greg Jarrett, Mike Davis, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Much more to be revealed. Meanwhile, please buy the Scopes monkey trial. That was 100 years ago.